What up everyone, Chubu here, and if you haven't realized already, I love Pokemon. It's the series I keep coming back to for videos, and today I'm going to do something a lot of other YouTubers have done in the past, and that's make teams based around the different types of Pokemon. And Pokemon, there are 18 types, and the games, there's usually a type specialist, there's gym leaders, champions, elite four, and I'm going to be making a team with that in mind. Basically, it's just if I was in these games, what would my team be per type? Very simple concept. For this video specifically, the rules are no mythicals, legendaries, ultra beasts, or paradox Pokemon. They're all powerful, kind of post-game Pokemon. I'm going to avoid making teams around gimmicks, so like the Megas, Gigantamax. I'm not involving any gimmicks. If my Pokemon have the capability for it, that's cool, but they're not designed with those in mind. And I'm not limiting it to any decks. It's not like per specific region or game. All Pokemon are available. I'm not going to worry about the Pokedex. These are just Pokemon I like or want to use in strategy. With all that being said, I'm just going to hop right into it, get through all of the 18 types. If you want to see even more content Pokemon or some other franchise, I highly recommend subscribing. I have videos coming out every week covering a ton of different games and other franchises at that. Subscribe, like the video, share it, whatever else. Anyway, I'm going to hop right into it. So we're going to go in alphabetical order here, and we're going to start with the Bug type. Now, Bug is interesting because it tends to be relatively weak with its Pokemon, so I had to be very specific with my choices. I decided to pick Golisopod, Lokix, Fortress, Heracross, Cleavor, and Vikavolt. I've used each of these Pokemon at some point in my entire time playing Pokemon. I will be mentioning the ones I have used and haven't used. So I do have a special connection with each of these Pokemon, so they all have a soft spot in my heart, which is why they're on the team. Now the strategy here would be I open with Golisopod. We're going to first impression, and the goal is just to get a cheeky kill with Golisopod. I'm assuming Golisopod will faint afterwards, and we'll go into Lokix for some big damage, then a Fortress for some hits. Basically, we're just kind of stalling out with these first three Pokemon, getting some good damage in, hopefully a kill or two. The goal here is to get to Heracross, Cleavor, and Vikavolt. Vikavolt being the ace. The whole idea is these last three are much more powerful, stronger, hard-hitting, with their stab boosts, of course. So the goal is we're going to just kind of use those at the end and go for a big final sweep, with the first three being more or less just a wall to get through. Next up is the Dark type. Here we have Zoroark, Hydreigon, Hisuian Samurott, Umbreon, Incineroar, and Kingambit. I have used Zoroark, Umbreon, Incineroar, and Kingambit on teams. Hydreigon and Samurott, Hisuian at least, I have not used. This team is interesting because it covers a very wide-ranging group of Pokemon, and the strategy here is we're just opening with Zoroark, some funny shenanigans with Illusion, then we're going Hydreigon. We're getting serious, and the whole thing is Hydreigon being just a much stronger Pokemon in comparison to the rest. We're using that as basically our opener, just to do some big damage, get some kills in. The next three are glorified coverage mons, all of which are more so, again, we're getting kills in, we have some stronger Pokemon. They're all meant to cover whatever variety of team we may be facing. We're ending with Kingambit, who has the infamous ability to, you know, absorb the souls of its fallen comrades and be stronger. So yeah, we're ending with this behemoth at the end for some final KOs. The whole thing is it's kind of setting up for this big finale where you have to deal with just a menace. Next up is the Dragon type. Since Dragon across the board is very powerful, I decided to more focus on having a fun variety of species rather than like a strong team. So with Baxcalibur, Alolan Executor, Haxorus, Flygon, Archaludon, and Como. I've used Baxcalibur, Flygon, and Como in the past. They're some of my favorite Pokemon, or Dragon Pokemon, I mean. So I really wanted them, and the rest are just ones I like, and I think Alolan Executor being here for the Dragon Specialist is just funny. The whole strategy here is just, you have a whole team of powerhouses, and each one, since they have different types and different moves, of course, you just have to adapt to each one, as they're all going to do massive damage regardless. The only thing in particular is Baxcalibur being the first Pokemon due to its ice typing for any double dragon shenanigans that the opponent may be throwing out against me. Next is Electric. Since these are all very fast Pokemon to begin with, my strategy was more so for the type that beats Electric being Ground. So the first four Pokemon are all gonna be made to cover that. Emolga, Rotom Wash Form, Hisuian Electrode, and Electros. We then end with Electivire and Boltund, both of which are just powerful, faster, stronger electric types to sweep up any remaining Pokemon. Next is the Fairy type. We have Mimikyu, who I've used, Gardevoir, who I've used, Hatterene I've never used, Galarian Weezing I've never used, Grimmsnarl I have used, and Tinkaton I have used. Mimikyu, we're just going to stall for a turn, have that funny little, you know, guy be there. Gardevoir and Hatterene are the main powerhouses of the team. They're coming out, they're doing the big damage. We're then sending in Galarian Weezing for its ability to negate abilities, just to kind of cover anything that I may not have predicted. And then Grimmstar and Tinkaton are just the final stands, big, powerful Pokemon that I've used in the past and know very well what they're capable of. So those are the final straw before I lose. Next is the fighting type. This is an interesting team because a lot of the fighting Pokemon I like, I put elsewhere. And I didn't want to reuse a ton of Pokemon when I was making those. So we have Phalanx, Hariyama, Hitmontop, Scrafty, Infernape, and Machamp. I've used Hariyama, Infernape, and Machamp in the past. Phalanx, I don't have a strategy for. I just like Phalanx. I was like, yeah, we're just gonna throw it out there. But on the other hand, we have Hariyama, who will be sent out next to take some hits, get a kill if possible. The next four are really where the team shines, and they're gonna be faster, made to kill Pokemon. Their whole thing is just going in and hitting hard. If there's like a psychic type, we're kind of screwed, but we're just banking on that not happening and praying for some good RNG with our critical hits. A lot of my Pokemon strategies revolve around just having good RNG. I gamble when I play Pokemon. I don't use strategy. Now for my favorite type, the fire type. I have Scovillain, Macargo, Cinderace, Arcanine, Rotom Heat, and Emboar. I've used everything except Rotom Heat. Before anyone says anything, I have these teams as full teams as 6s, in case I'm like champion Elite 4 level. But if you want, you can just kind of de-evolve, make them lower level, and just call it like Gym 1 through 8 or something. The only reason Macargo's on this team is because I can pre-evolve it into Slugma for like the first gym. The strategy I have here is Scovillain's for the coverage with that Park Grass typing. Macargo will then come out for some Sun and some setup. The rest are just gonna fight for their lives. Cinderace and Arcanine will be faster. With kill Pokemon, Rotom and Emboar be more on the tankier side with that sun boosted fire damage, maybe some Will-O-Wisp with Rotom. Next is the flying type. I have Hawlucha, Swanna, Hisuian Braviary, Salamence, Togekiss, and Staraptor. I have used everything except Hawlucha. Hawlucha, we're just opening for the type and because I like it again. There's not really too much strategy here. We're really going for that Swanna, Hisuian Braviary. They're going to be here again to weaken the opponent. A lot of my strategy is going to revolve around Salamence, a bigger, stronger Pokemon. That's going out. That's going to do some damage. Togekiss will come out after to cover anything that Salamence was weak to. And then Staraptor, with its speed and good coverage, will then be the final killer for anything left standing. Next, we have the Ghost type, and this is an interesting one. Shedinja, Spiritomb, Skeledirge, Annihilate, Dragapult, Gengar. I've used Skeledirge, Annihilate, and Gengar. The rest I have not. The idea is we're going to open with Shedinja. It's a fun gimmick to start off with. If you don't have coverage, Shedinja will just win, of course. Spiritomb will then be out there for some setup, and then the rest are stronger powerhouses. Skeledirge will be spamming its signature move, doing some big damage. Annihilate and Dragapult, again, have these big, strong type combos, good coverage moves, good abilities at that. Like, they're just going to be out there for the powerhouses. Gengar, while I'm not revolving around gimmicks, can use all of them, of course. So Gengar will be a final line of defense with, again, lots of coverage. It's how I like playing Pokemon, if you couldn't tell. Next is the Grass type. Here we have Ludicolo, Superior, Trevenant, Go-Go, Hydrapple, and Sceptile. I've used Superior, Go-Go, and Sceptile in the past. The strategy here is we're opening with Ludicolo for any fire types, because I feel like a lot of people are gonna, they see a Grass specialist, they want fire, so we're opening with Ludicolo to cover that. Then the next three are gonna be Heal Starlers. Superior, Trevenant, and Go-Go will all be using moves, abilities, all in which to just keep gaining back health and chipping away at the opponents. Once those fail, we then have Hydrapple and Sceptile to wrap up with big, stronger hitting Pokemon. Their Sceptile's obviously faster, Hydrapple's more tanky, both of which will just cover anything at the very end of the fight. Next is the ground type. We have Clodsire, Mamoswine, Gliscor, Crocodile, Golurk, and Swampert. Here we're going to have Clodsire open with spikes and setup. Once that goes down, which I'm expecting for, then we have Mamoswine to come out with its bulkiness, just taking hits, dishing them back out. Gliscor, same thing. Crocodile, same thing. Golurk, same thing. And Swampert, same thing. Again, it is more or less just we bank on the power of these Pokemon and less of strategy. It's all RNG, and that's the fun for me. Next, the Ice type. Due to Ice type being a very fragile type, I actually had to make a strategy for this one. We're going to open with Abomasnow, who I have used in the past just to set up Hail. Then Frostlass, Alolan Ninetales, Glalie, and Weavile, and Walrein will be relying on that to win with the fast attackers and Walrein being bulky. For reference, I have used Glalie and Weavile in the past, so I do know how fast they can be. Next, for the normal type. This one isn't really a strategy, it's more a showcase of just the variety of Pokemon we have nowadays. We have Bewear, Smeargle, Hisuian Zoroark, Snorlax, Slaking, and Ditto. I've used Snorlax and Bewear in the past, and the whole idea is each Pokemon you have to adapt to individually, since they're all going to be different gimmicks. Bewear is that normal fighting type, so you can't really rely on fighting necessarily, because it'll dish out attacks as well. This is our coverage mon. Smeargle will have a variety of moves, and it could be really any strategy unless you know going in what that moveset is. Soon Zoroark, being Ghost Normal again, covers fighting, so you have to adapt to it as well. Snorlax, powerful Pokemon, I just really like it, so it's on the team. Slacking hits like an absolute truck, but you do have Truant, and then Ditto is our final Pokemon. The idea here is whatever Pokemon you're sending out, it's probably a powerhouse at this point in the fight, so Ditto will just copy it and then hit like an absolute truck if you've prepared properly, because you're going to have a Pokemon strong enough to counter any Pokemon. Next is Poison type, which, yeah, we're just using the Toxic. Dragalge, Salazzle, Scolipede, Swalot, Crobat, and Toxicroak. I have used all of them, and Swalot's here for the same reason as having Slugma. You know, you pre-evolve it, you get Gulpin. Swalot itself is also a funny name. But we start with Dragalge, going out there, we get some poison on the field. After Dragalge's down, we then go to Salazzle to cover any Steel or Poison types that are there. The rest are going to be using that poison to just do big damage across the board with stuff like Venoshock, to do massive damage with the lingering Toxic. Next is the Psychic type. We're going to open with Wobbuffet for just a cheeky kill. Then Galarian, Slowbro, Delphox, Claydol, Metagross, and Starmie, who I've all used in the past. We're going to bank on Slowbro getting a kill with its fun ability to just have a glorified Quick Claw. The whole thing is we're going to bank on Slowbro. Delphox and Claydol, we're going to lessen the field. If we need to, we go Metagross. If that fails, Starmie is just a funny Pokemon. Next for the Rock type. Again, this is another weaker type in my opinion, like Ice. So I did build that around that idea. Alolan Golem, Aerodactyl, Dreadnought, Aggron, Tyranitar, and Tyrantrum. Dreadnought, Aggron, and Tyrantrum I have used in the past. The idea here is we have Alolan Golem, Aerodactyl, and Dreadnought to cover anything Rock may be weak to. Then the last three are just powerful Pokemon that will come out and hopefully cover whatever remains on the field. Next is the Steel type. Steel type being so defensive, I decided to focus on the other stats, because they naturally were just going to be strong Pokemon. Corviknight, Steelix, Empoleon, Excadrill, Lucario, and Scizor. I've used Lucario, Excadrill, Empoleon, and Corviknight in the past. The idea here is since most of these are stupidly defensive, we're going to have some that are very fast and some that are very just hard-hitting. So as I switch between each of them in combat, some will just hit hard, some will take the hits. Of course, you just have to adapt. It's going to be a constant switching battle here, and you have to make sure you're not getting beaten with the coverage options, getting beaten by just the sheer power of some of these Pokemon. Again, this is one of those where you have to know the Pokemon in particular, and it's built around having a massive defense boost with the Steel type. And lastly, for water, we have Palafin, Wailord, Sharpedo, Dracovish, Golduck, and Greninja. I've used Greninja, Sharpedo, and Palafin in the past. Here we're going to open with Palafin, switch right to Wailord. This is going to stay on the field till it dies, and then after we're going all in with attacks. Palafin's other form hits hard, Sharpedo and Dracovish can hit hard. Golduck is just Pokemon I like, of course, so that's there. But Greninja again also hits hard. So again, we are just hitting hard. I like having less strategy and more we're going guns blazing. That is how I play Pokemon. RNG and guns blazing. If you can't tell, I don't play competitive. I know about it, but I just find it a lot more fun to go in guns blazing, and it's like, hey, I passed the RNG check. Very different from probably a lot of other videos on a similar topic you've seen, since they use strategy or just their favorite Pokemons. Here, I banked on RNG strategy. I didn't bank on proper, like, this will always win. I banked on sometimes it'll work, sometimes it won't. that was strategy. And again, a lot of these Pokemon I have used in the past, some of these aren't necessarily my favorites of all these categories. I did a video in the past if you want to see my favorite Pokemon, but as it stands, I'm very happy with these teams. And let me know in the comments if any of these teams you think would be really fun to fight against, or really annoying to fight against, or what your teams would be if you were a gym leader, champion, Elite Four, with or without regional requirements. Anyway, that's all I got for you guys today, so I'm going to wish you all a lovely day.